Hello everybody, welcome in to Watch Me Wednesday, episode number 79. Today I'm taking you on location in my spare bedrooms in the house. Because I told you last week that I wanted to show you how I store my quilts. So I thought I'd take you in to the spare bedrooms where I store them. Hi Kyra, hi Nedra, how are you guys? Hi Sue. So I'm on location, so to speak. I'm not in my studio. I wanted to show you. Hey Lisa, how are you? So if you so desire and you want to share this with your friends, it might be a way for them to get to know how I store quilts, and that works for me. And maybe it'll actually work for you as well. So some ideas that I'm going to give you today. I'm hoping that you enjoy it. I actually had my friend and my really good friend and neighbor did the labor for me, because as many of you know, and I know, hey Jean, hi Nancy, as many of you know, living in Arizona, there's not a whole lot of storage. Your house is typically built on a slab here. There are no basements and there are no attics. So therefore storage is limited, and you have to really get creative and organized. So I have been in this organizational kind of mode where I really wanted to organize my quilts, and also my master closet too, which is a whole nother story. But most of the stuff that we store tends to be, we have racks in our garage, but quilts are not something you want to store in the garage, along with some other things. So because we don't have guests very often, we use the guest bedroom closets, and ours in our house, we're lucky enough that ours are actually small walk-in closets. So it really does help me to store my quilts. But when we built our house almost 3 years ago, the builder puts in, the regular shelving that's about 11 inches wide, and there's some hanging bars, and it's not really conducive to folding large quilts, especially on, because it's only 11 inches wide. You'd have to fold them down to barely nothing, and then they'd stack up on top of one another. And I finally got disgusted one day because I went to grab a quilt out from underneath everything, and all of them fell over. And my neighbor, who is awesome, he kept saying to me, I'll build you shelves. What do you want? Just tell me. And I didn't really want to impose on him. But that day changed everything for me. It's like, I really need shelves for these, because I use my quilts. As you know, many of you have taken classes from me or seen my lecture trunk show. So I use them in my classes and in my lectures and my trunk shows. So I needed an efficient way to organize and put them on the shelves. And this really did it for me. And I have to say, I am so utterly happy at how I've stored them. So I know you can see behind me right now, I'm in the spare bedroom, and I have a couple quilts here that I got back that I'll show you in a minute. But I'm going to take you in the first closet. So my awesome neighbor and friend did 2 closets for me. And I'm thinking that you'll kind of like it. If you have the room to do it, it's a great way to go ahead and store them. So if you want to share the video now, it would be awesome so people can see exactly how they're stored. They are in closets for a reason, because I don't want them exposed to sunlight, because sunlight will fade them. So quilts that you have out on your beds and stuff, they will fade over time if they're exposed to sunlight all the time. So be careful with that. So here we go. I'm going to come and I'm going to turn the camera around. So let's see. There we go. Okay. So I'm going to open up the closet door so you can see. Here we go. So these are the awesome shelves. So this is my closet. So you can see on the top shelf there, we still have some boxes that we store up on the top. But here are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 shelves where I have neatly folded in categories, might I add, in categories as to what they are, so I know where the quilts are when I need them. And over here we did save a spot for guests when they come to hang clothing and such. And I also have quilt samples from Quilt Market and here. And I have my suitcases in here because I travel with the quilt so much, I have them right here. So all I need to do is take them off the shelves and put them right in the suitcases. So it makes it super duper easy for me. But what I did, hey Deb, how are you? So what I did is these quilts down on the bottom, I don't use that much for lectures or classes because these are like me quilts that I made long before I was teaching and giving lecture trunk shows. So those quilts don't get used very much. So those are on the bottom shelf. Then we go upward to these are all my designs. And then what I did was I categorized them and starting at, so these were quilts. These two shelves are quilts that I made actually from magazines when they were published in magazines, and I still have the patterns. They're available on my website for these quilts, and I know exactly which ones are which because I know the backings, believe it or not. So then when I started with Island Batik, designing for them, doing fabric lines and patterns. So this was my first collection. This is Fresh Catch, then Blue Moon, then this one was Fresh Pickins, and then I have Feline Fine over here, and those, I'm sorry, I have, this is all a Flutter, which the two quilts behind me, I'm going to show you in a minute, those came back from that collection, so they'll go up here. And then Feline Fine right here, which those quilts are currently out on trunk show, so I don't have much in there. There's just some quilts from my booth there that are not in the trunk show. So now I'm going to show you the other closet, but first I want to show you the two quilts that came back from my All of Flutter collection. So I'm shutting the light off and closing the door. See, they're not going to get any sunlight. And I'm going to swing around here, and these are the two quilts that came back from my All of Flutter collection. So this is my Mountains and Plains design, and a lot of you I know have made it. It's one of my most popular patterns. It's a 15 fat quarter pattern, plus then you need the yardage for the background. I'll put links above when I'm done. So this is from my All of Flutter collection, so you can see the colors there. And this will go in the closet today. It will get folded and put in its appropriate place. Then underneath here, let me show you. I'm going to pull this one off. Underneath here is my Suncatcher. Let me pull this up here. This is my Suncatcher pattern. And hey, Kel, how are you? So this is my Suncatcher pattern with the All of Flutter collection too. So this one is paper piece, the other one is not. But these just came back yesterday, so these will go in this closet to get organized. So I'm going to turn the camera back around because I'm going to take you in the other closet. I want to show you, sorry, before I do that, I want to show you one other way I store quilts too. So over here in this guest bedroom, I do have a quilt rack, and I do have a small antique quilt collection. So I do store some here just to kind of brighten up the room a little bit. Not as if this room isn't bright enough, because if you're looking here, I have this quilt on my guest room bed, and it's all the jewel tones, which I made. And I just did big squares, that's it. But I made it a super long, it's a queen size bed, so you can see it drapes down really far. Other than the quilt that's on the bed, these are the only quilts in the room. But I have the shade closed in here all the time because we don't always have guests. When the guests come in, they can open the shades, and they are out of direct sunlight too. So these are my collection of antique quilts. So let me turn the camera around so you can see my face again. There you go. So I'm going to take you into the other bedroom, the other guest bedroom, and show you, sorry, I'm catching part of my face. I'm going to show you, by the way, and I also keep my guest bedroom doors closed because the cats my Quilt Inspector 1 and 2 don't go in there. So a lot of people have allergies, and if they come to stay, I don't want them to have cat fur. And so the quilts are then also protected by the fact that I close the doors. So, okay, so now I'm going to show you the other closet. Let me turn the camera around again. Okay, so here's the other closet. Now, it's really an identical closet to the other one, just reverse. So in this closet, again, you can see we save the upper bit for storage boxes, but then I have these again organized. These are all my Judy Niemeyer or quiltworks.com quilts. And down on the very bottom there, and this one right here, those are from my book, Splash of Color. So those are all the quilts from my book. And then all the rest are Judy Niemeyer quilts that I teach with. I travel with them around the country. There's several more right now that are in my studio, which I can't show you because I'm working on them for my next line of fabric. But you can see how I folded them and stacked them in there, so I know which is which. Again, I said I know which quilt is which because I know the backings. Is that strange? I can tell you exactly which quilt is which just by the backings. So that's how those are stored. And again, we left room over here for guests to go ahead and hang things. And again, I have my suitcases in here where I can just go ahead and load any of the quilts in there from there. Hey, Carrie, how are you? And Jan. So these quilts on the shelf will go right into the suitcases when I go to travel. Just like in the other closet where I showed, it makes it super easy to have those right here in the closet so that I don't have to go very far with the quilts. And some of you may have seen my post the other day that I found my wedding shoes. Well, they're in that box right there. So I stored them up there. And also my my little confirmation hat or whatever I wore is in the top one, which is kind of fun to see. But anyway, that is how I store my quilts. Does anybody have questions about how they're stored? And I have to say, by the way, so I should give you a little detail on the shelves. You're probably wanting to know the depth of the shelves. I think we made them 24 inches. So if you could see here, it goes back pretty far. So I can, it's not that, it's not shallow like the builder's shelves, which these are the builder shelves here, right here, and those are only 11 inches deep. So these are a big 24 inches deep, which is fantastic. So again, my friend and neighbor, Rick, he's the one who built all these shelves for me, and he did a fantastic job. I told him that I wanted about 24 inches in depth because it needed to hold the quilts. It needed to hold them at a good, folding. And you can see what I've mostly done is folded them in thirds. Can you see that? Annette says, what kind of batting do I use? Well, it depends on the quilt, Annette. I use, they do look thin, Lisa. I use mainly cotton, Quilter's Dream Select, or Warm and Natural, but if I have a really special quilt that I want the quilting to really show up on, I tend to layer the batting, and I'll use a cotton and wool, and it'll get you'll get relief, and you'll get to see that quilting more. So let me turn the camera around. So here I am in the other bedroom, and we still have stuff actually to put on the shelves back there, so you're probably seeing that in there. I'll turn it around so you don't have to see that mess. Anyway, so are there any other questions? I hope that you've enjoyed seeing how I store the quilts, and I wish I had a before picture. Rick had asked me if I took a before picture, and I think we took one with the closet empty after I emptied the shelves, but I didn't take with the quilts on it. So I was really bad about that. And if you had seen them, they were stacked. Like I said, they were stacked real high. And somebody would have had to rescue me because it would have been death by quilts. When I went in to pull things out of the bottom, they just toppled all over, which is why I needed these wonderful, wonderful shelves. Carol's asking, do I refold them so the folds aren't permanent? Yes, I do, because they get used so much when I travel. So I'm constantly taking them out and putting them in a suitcase. And when I get back, I'm always refolding them. So they're never folded the same way. So yes. And a way to remedy that too, if you happen to have a quilt that you folded and you think that the crease is permanent, just use a steamer and it'll steam it right out. What height is between the shelves? I think we did 16 inches, Lisa, I believe, if I'm correct. So I think they're 16 inches apart on those shelves, so that I have enough to use there in between. It might be a little more, maybe 18, but it's somewhere in there. And I can measure them and get back to you. Isn't the shelving awesome, Annette? He did a fantastic job, and I am so, so happy. I feel so much more organized now, and just relieved. You know how it's like something that a weight was lifted off of your shoulder? So it was for me, because it was becoming a real problem for me when I had to go in and get the quilts out and put them in my suitcases to leave. So I'm so, so happy with how they came out. You did a good job, Rick. I'm going to tell you that over and over again. I love them, and I love you for doing them. Thank you so much. So anyway, that's it today. If you do have any questions, definitely put them in the comments. Oh, and I knew somebody was going to ask that. And actually, I can go through and count both closets now. How many quilts do I have together? I don't know, but I can go through and count them now because it'll be way easier to do that. So I will do that, and I will get back to you on that. And I should have done it actually while I was putting them back in there, but I didn't really think of it. I was just like so anxious to get them all in there sitting nice and pretty. So anyway, if you have any other questions, please put in there. But guess what? So I want to ask you all a favor. Wish me and my hubby and my friend Heidi and Susan really, really good luck. We are going on an adventure. We are going to hike down into the Grand Canyon on Saturday and come up on Sunday. And it is going to be, I'm super excited, but it's going to be one of the hardest things that I've ever done physically, I think. And I'm just crossing my fingers that all goes well. So I'm going to be doing that this weekend, and I don't know if any of you have ever done that before. If you have, write a comment and let me know. We are going to be staying down at Phantom Ranch down at the bottom for the night after we hike down in, and then we are coming up the next day up a different trail. We're going down South Kaibab Trail and coming up Bright Angel. And I know the descent is not going to be nearly as difficult as the ascent. So it's totally the reverse of climbing a mountain. And we climb mountains regularly, but once we get down, we have to get out. So we don't have any choice. Whereas if you're climbing a mountain and you don't think you're going to make it to the top, you can easily turn around anytime. Well, if we turn around coming up, the only place to go is down. So we don't want to do that. We want to keep coming up. So wish us luck. And I'm so looking forward to telling you about my adventure next week. And I might be just a little bit tired when I come back. Kel, that would be awesome. Kel is another one of my fit family ladies that I work out with almost every day. We get paired up almost every day, and we have fun singing to the songs when they have singable songs for us. We particularly like the 80s. So I'm so glad, Kel, that you joined in today, too. Love you, and thank you for the good luck. Anyway, so I will see you next Wednesday. I might be a little tired, but I will see you then. And I hope that this was helpful information for you. If you have any other questions, put it in the comments and hit your share button. See you all. Have a great rest of your week. Happy quilting, everybody. Bye-bye.